Welcome back to Confessions of a Recruiter. Today, we share the 7 things recruiters must know about being a recruitment agency owner.
I've interviewed and met with hundreds of recruiters over the last 12 months, whether they bill $500 to $2 million. None of them know or understand this until they become a business owner. So enjoy this conversation. These 7 things will blow your mind.
Well, welcome home to Confessions of a Recruiter. Thanks for joining us again. This week, we've got an awesome episode. But before we get into it, let's actually do a little bit of a reminiscing on where we've just come from.
Mate, we are looking tanned.
It's
been one hell of a trip.
We've got the tan going. We just came back from ex-recruiters' high-performance holiday.
High-performance holiday, high-performing trip. It was an incentive we ran in 2023. And I think now it's going to be the hallmark trip for the XR Elite.
Exactly. So the top performers in ex-recruiter got a trip to Fiji, 5 days, 4 nights. We did a whole bunch of awesome stuff. It was good to finally unwind, relax, and spend a bit of time with other business owners, other recruitment agency owners, where you can share ideas, stories, become better together, and relax a little bit and enjoy yourself and all the success that you've made. So what did we do over the 5 days, mate? Well, what did everyone else do, not you?
Mate, I was there in spirit, but what did you do? You went jet skiing?
Jet skiing, boat party.
Who was the fastest bloke on the jet ski? Who was the slowest?
That'd be Sergi. Yeah, Sergi didn't want to go over 30 Ks an hour. It was a little choppy, but that's all right. I was maxing mine out. It had a speed limiter on it, unfortunately, at 85 Ks.
Big old Chris from Tech Talent came off.
Yeah, big Chris from Tech Talent.
The jet ski ran away from him?
Yeah, he fell off his jet ski. We went boat party. That was really entertaining. Massages, tennis, deep sea fishing.
Tore the flesh off your foot running around a tennis court.
Yeah, don't play tennis. Don't play tennis on a concrete court with no shoes on, especially when you got the Harwell boys pegging balls at the left and the right hand of the court where you got to sprint around and just carve yourself up. But it was an awesome high performance holiday. We can't wait for the next holiday to see what other agency partners will be there and who qualifies for it. It's a really exciting time to be a part of a community of business owners that are all uplifting each other. So stay tuned for the promotional clips that Sergi, Ryan, Tyler will be putting together and we'll pumping out on socials. So you'll be able to see exactly what that looks like.
And that's why this leads into this, because, we're sitting there, we're having a few coconuts, sipping on the kava, and we're thinking, how good is this? And Adam's like, mate, literally 9 months ago, I didn't know any of this was possible. Fast forward, and, now this is their life and their vision. And now we're talking about the XR fund and buying islands, and it's all happening. And now we just want to break down as to why it's so cool, not cool, but beneficial, and what you need to know as a recruiter and what you might be missing out on, and what it looks like to step into, agency ownership with us here at X Recruiter.
That's it. So we're about to go through the top 7 things that recruiters generally are unaware of before starting a recruitment agency. And we've got a bonus 8th point to go through at the end of the episode. So make sure you stick around because you're not going to want to miss this one. All right. Number one, being an agency owner within X Recruiter is actually safer than being a recruiter on salary at another agency. Blake, can you tell me why? Exactly. So just to clarify, it's more stable and secure running, is what you're saying, more stable and secure running your own agency than just being a recruiter for someone else's business.
Yep.
It's very controversial, that is, because typically most people think that if you work for someone else's business, it's much more secure and stable than running your own. And so let me tell you a story about a recruiter who thought she had a stable and secure position, and it turns out otherwise. So this happens a lot, and maybe if you're listening to this might have happened to you, but working for a recruitment agency or working for a business owner is much different from a stability and a security standpoint. And the reason being is, even if you are a great recruiter, let's say you're billing $1 million a year, you would instinctively assume that your position at that recruitment agency is rock solid. You're not going anywhere. Everything's all good. You're performing well. However, what a lot of people don't realize is most business owners misappropriate funds, they make bad financial decisions, and eventually they run out of money and go bankrupt. And so what's happened recently, actually, here's actually a real life example. Go2. So Go2 went into liquidation, stopped paying people supers. I spoke to a lot of recruiters at Go2 who were absolutely baffled, billing 500, 600, 700K a year, and have turned around and gone, I don't get it. I've been with this company for years. I thought my job was secure. I thought it was stable. I'm performing well, yet my business still goes bankrupt. I get made redundant and I've got to now go find a new job. That is a perfect example of why you can't assume that if you are doing a good job as an individual, that your position is secure and safe. If you are doing a good job as an individual running your own business, unless you make bad financial decisions, there is absolutely nothing that will stop you from being successful, earning income, all that kind of stuff. So interesting story, something to think about.
And a lot of that happened through COVID because just like many recruiters, you find out, you start making really good income, you have a huge year, and then now a lot of business owners actually rested on their laurels. They said, oh, this is easy. They were sitting there eating chicken wings. Weren't as proactive. And then that followed through that culture and then things started to slip. So just because you may be that standalone person in the office crushing it, it doesn't mean that your director is doing the right things, by
Behind
you
the scenes.
and behind the scenes. So that's why I always make sure I've had full control over my life ever since I was 21, had a stint in recruitment and then, straight back into business ownership. And if you're thinking that salary is the only thing that's keeping you safe, then, rethink education and realize the world around you because there is a whole world out there.
Exactly. So that's point number one. If you're a good recruiter, you are more stable and secure working independently under your own brand than you are working for someone else's business. All right, number two, tax, baby. Tell us about tax. Why is tax as a business owner so much more advantageous than a recruiter as an employee?
Well, one, everything, your whole life is your business. You come home and you look at your salary in your bank account as a recruiter, and that's what your whole life comes out of. So imagine looking at your earnings over the whole year up on the whiteboard, and then now you have ability to spend within that whole threshold. That's essentially what it means. And then you've got tax breaks at 25% corporate tax for businesses that turn over under $50 million. And
Hang on. Let's break that down. That's a really big point that you bring up. So as a high-performing recruiter, let's say you're billing 300, 400, 500K a year. What's your tax rate?
You get taxed
up to 47%.
Yep.
As an individual. As a business, what's the tax rate?
25%.
25%. So we're comparing so if you're making $100, you pay 47 of those dollars to the taxman as an employee, as a recruiter. But if you're running your own business, you make $100, you only pay $25. So what you're saying there is you pay half the amount of tax.
More than half or less than half, 22%.
Yeah, you pay half the amount of tax that you would do as a recruiter. So recruiters, I think just to put this into perspective, when you get your pay slip next week, next month, next fortnight, whatever your pay cycles are, have a look at how much tax you're paying and imagine having half of that back in your pocket. That's what we're saying. Sorry, continue.
And then on top of that, out of that 47%, the part that gets left over, you still have to pay for your phone. You've got to pay for various different charges. You've got to pay for your car, your car fuel, your registration, your tolls, your internet, your phone. Anytime you go out and see clients, you've got to pay for that. The coffees. What else is there? It's flights. We're not tax accountants ourselves. We've run businesses for years, so we don't want to go through and line by line. But there is a lot of things that you do in your job which you could be getting that are taxable, that is going to reduce that tax amount for you, as opposed to at the moment you're relying on your commission. You're relying on getting your salary each week, and then you're having to pay all those things out of it. And that's why you feel like you're never getting ahead.
Good point. We aren't tax people, so don't take this as gospel. But let me tell you a story about a friend of ours and some of the creative tax advantage he has as a business owner working from home. So he has a 2-bedroom apartment, this gentleman, I won't name him. He has a 2-bedroom apartment and he works out of 1 bedroom, the living room. He has kind of like a hallway that he actually takes candidates to his residence as well. His rent is about $800 a week for his 2-bedroom apartment. And he claims up to 40% of his rent as a business expense because he's working out of his home. Now, I don't know about you recruiters that are currently work from home as an employee, but you can't claim 40% of your rent at the moment through working from home. However, if you are running your own business and you're working from home, all of a sudden your mortgage, your rent, whatever it might be, is now up for debate on whether or not you can claim it. So that's a huge, huge tax advantage in
More
itself.
incentives for rentals
Yeah.
over mortgages.
Imagine paying half the amount of rent just because you're running your own business. And then not only that, imagine paying half the amount of tax because it's your own business. These are the compounding effects of advantageous tax breaks you get as a business owner as opposed to an employee
Of an agency. So next is commission versus business income. So those revenues you look up on the board, one of the biggest things, you might hear, business owners, they have long payment terms. They've got this, they got that. Well, I'm going to break it to you all. Recruiters, you guys have the longest payment terms. On average, you guys take 90 to 120 days for you to get paid.
So that's 3 to 6 months. So the work that you put in now, and this is because of the pay cycles of commissions. Typically, commissions are quarterly. Some are monthly, but what happens is you work a deal for 4 weeks, you make the placement, 4 weeks later, the candidate finally starts, then you get paid 4 weeks after that, and then all of a sudden, depending on what quarter or month it falls in, then you get paid at the end of that month or that quarter. So you can see here how long it takes for you to get paid on your efforts as a recruiter at a recruitment agency. The difference being, a lot of recruiters, and this is a mindset shift that goes through a lot of people that start their own business. Now, instead of sandbagging deals in 1 quarter or 1 month to try and get the highest comm rate, pressuring candidates or clients to get the deal done when realistically you could just give them another week and it'd save face and you'd be able to maintain your relationship. Now, instead of having all these pressured timelines because you've got self-interest on trying to hit a certain comm bracket or a certain comm time frame, as soon as you make the placement, you get the full fee anyway. So if your client wants to think about it over the weekend and it falls into the next month or the next quarter, it doesn't matter. You're getting paid, and on average, ex-recruiter partners get paid within 7 days of the candidate accepting the job. So I'll just repeat that again. Within 7 days of the candidate accepting the job, our ex-recruiter partners get paid. So imagine now going from waiting up to 6 months to get paid commissions of a deal that you've done to now within 7 days you get paid. And if for anyone that's listened to our podcast last week around the average earnings of our ex-recruiter partners in their first 4 weeks of business in the first 90 days, this is why it's so huge. Most new agency owners, they go 3-6 months without getting any income because they've got bad payment terms. They're not gearing their agency to be advantageous for cash flow, all these kind of things. So that's a really, really big one around cash flow and getting paid versus your commissions to business income.
And I just want to remind everyone, we've spoken to hundreds, like 500-600 recruiters in the last 12 months. And these things are not known by any recruiters. This is literally only business owners understand this, get this. There's a reason why once you see recruiters get into business for themselves, they absolutely accelerate and get so excited. But many discovery calls I have with recruiters, whether you're billing 500 up to high ones, couple of mils. A lot of this stuff is not known. It's not taught. It's kept under a rug. Business owners are holding it back from you. And that's why I want to give you this information so you can make better decisions about your career, because many recruiters do not know this information. So that's why I thought it was so important to be able to share this with you all, as these are the conversations we're having with our partners here at X.
Okay, so if there are any recruiters out there that are interested to find out what it's like to have a VA support them in their role, whether that be to bill more, reduce tasks that they don't enjoy doing, or be a more effective recruiter in their niche, then we definitely recommend reaching out to the Outsource People or TOP. Reach out to them, inquire on how they can implement a VA in your agency and to support you. And if you mention X-Recruiter or Confessions of a Recruiter, they will give you a 13% discount off your bill per month on this VA that will allow you to scale your business, scale your desk, and to bill more and make more money. So go reach out to the Outsource People, say Confession sent you, get your discount, and see what is possible. All right, next is probably a little bit more high level, but hopefully everyone's going to be able to follow this. It's not too complicated, but cash flow and equity or investments. So I'll use the real estate example because that's probably what will make the most sense for the majority of people. The best investment that you can make is in anything in the world to increase your net worth is buying an asset that grows in equity and in cash flow. So for example, a house is one of those examples. So you buy a house, every 7 years it doubles in value, so you get the uplift in equity, and then you get the rental income cash flow that also provides you a small element of income weekly, monthly, fortnightly, etc. However, as an employee, the only thing that you get from your hard-earned working hours is cash flow. So you build no equity as you work for someone else's business. So it's just cash flow, it's just income as a PAYG. However, if you run a business, not only do you get much more cash flow, much more income because you're not capped at a commission rate, but your business grows in equity. And in fact, businesses have the highest ROI on any asset class in the world. Real estate, crypto, stock market, whatever it might be, a business has the highest ROI when taking into consideration hours worked and cash invested. So the best investment anyone can make in the world by a long shot is by starting a business, not investing in real estate, not investing in stocks, not buying, maybe Bitcoin's a different story if you bought in 2009 or whatever, but businesses are the best investment choice you can make because you get equity and cash flow simultaneously rather than just working for a paycheck.
And why we are so passionate, obviously we're recruiters ourselves and been in recruitment, but one of the key things to get cash flow, a sale has to be generated. You can be filling roles. It could be a IT role, a finance role, anything back of house. But for any business to grow, oxygen for business is cash flow. And you as a recruiter are on the front line to generate cash flow for the entire agency. Now, that is why this conversation is so lucrative and has so much meaning, because you're sitting there with the number one key skill set that is needed for every business to survive. And that means the ability to sell, the ability to interact with customers. Many businesses fail or give up in the service industry, professional services, or any industry, because they don't have the ability to bring in income. You are all sitting there with the number one skill needed to be successful in business. And that's why this is so lucrative for many recruiters.
Recruiters are revenue generating machines. It's literally all you do. So you have the best opportunity to create a business because your number one skill set as a recruiter is to bring in the money. So everything else, admin, finance, accounts, insurances, all this stuff on the back end. It's not that complicated. It's not that hard. And if you can find someone else to do all that kind of stuff for you, and you can keep being the revenue generating machine you are, you're going to have an amazing business and do really, really well. All right.
You know who tells recruiters to do really, really well and they know they can do it? Brings us to point 5.
Yes. Declan, just for a bit of context for anyone that's watching the show right now, I am pretty much blind. Declan has some points that he wants to talk about that's like, I reckon, 40 meters away, and he can still read it somehow. And I've got the sheet on my lap, and I'm still struggling to read these dot points. So I just want to do a quick shout out to my friend here with 20/20 vision that's been able to just rattle off these dot points so well. But the next, number 5, is friends, family, and colleagues. What does that mean, mate?
Mate, they're the ones that are telling you to do this. They're like, why are you making so much money? It doesn't make sense to me you're making so much money for other people. You need to do it for yourself. It's every call I get on. What does your partner think? If you told her, oh, mate, she's been telling me for years I need to do this. Oh, there's been husbands in the corner of discovery calls saying, yeah, mate, I've been telling her for years. She needs to just do it. So they're your biggest advocates if they're telling you.
Yeah, what you would be really surprised at, and so, you know, we've helped over 50 recruiters start their own recruitment agency now. It's going exceptionally well, and we're able to see the transformation personally for a lot of these recruiters in their personal lives. And one of the biggest revelations that a lot of recruiters are having when they start their own business is the sheer volume of support from their friends, their family, their colleagues, and people they haven't spoken to for like 10 years. As soon as they have their launch party, they go live on socials, they start getting so many people reaching out to them, wishing them the best, congratulations. Old clients that they haven't done a deal with for 5 years reach out and go, hey, oh my God, you started your own business. I've got some roles. Let's support you in this new journey. And so one thing that you probably may underestimate is the amount of people that will come forward that you have not spoken to for years that will just be there to support you and cheer you on. So that's a really, really big one. The second I've got here is surrounding yourself. Did you want to extend on that?
Yeah, the people that you don't realize are around, that they come out of the woodwork. I got a message from a lady that I used to do the markets with when I was 21. And she's like, hey, I've been following your journey the whole time. It's awesome.
Oh, there you go. Perfect example. The next one is starting to surround yourself in better circles, because your interests shift and your focus shifts. The amount of people that you'll start to now network with and surround yourself with will instinctively level you up as a human. So you are who you hang around. And generally what we find is a lot of recruiters that are hanging around low performers, businesses that aren't innovating or going anywhere, that lack culture and vision, they get suffocated and it brings them down. The moment you're able to start your own business and then start networking with other recruitment agency owners that are traveling the same path as you, that have got the vision that you've got, that are leveling their life up and pushing themselves to the boundaries, you will start to create a new circle of friends that will help you elevate your life and take you to where you want to go. So that's a really exciting part that many recruiters don't realize when, you know, if you're a recruiter and you're just trying to hit your quarterly cost of seed and bang out your BD calls each day, your mind is so narrow focused and so short-sighted. Whereas as soon as you get outside of that box, all of a sudden you start growing in all areas of your life: fitness, health, friendships, business, finance, spirituality. All these things start to develop because your mind just starts expanding and growing, essentially.
It goes, mate, honestly, like, look at the AMP boys in their first 4 weeks. They're like, mate, this is just mind-boggling. I didn't even know this was a thing. And it's the information they're getting. It's a new paradigm. It's a new shift. It's even Adam and Harvey said, they're like, mate, I just couldn't even envision myself being here. We're literally in Fiji having the best time of our lives with a bunch of blokes we met 12 months ago, and now we're all the best of friends, just living our best lives. Like, you really start pushing forward and think, if this is what we can do in 9 months, 10 months, what does 5 years look like? What does 3 years look like? And this community is just, mate, it's explosive.
Yep. Love that. All right, next. What's the next one, Mr. 2020 Vision? What do you got up there?
The mindset shift. And it comes down to just being your most authentic.
No, I think that's The director title.
Oh, the director title.
Number 6.
Oh, you lost me. You started speaking about the one prior.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Having the director title is number 6.
And yeah. Blake having glasses should be number 7. That's the bonus round.
The bonus round is I get myself a set of glasses. So
No,
having the title...
I love this part.
Having the title director. Now, this is something that probably a lot of recruiters might resonate with and instinctively or their gut will tell them that, oh yeah, if I'm a partner or a director or whatever it might be, that maybe I'll have a little bit more weight to throw around. But you don't realize how much feedback and engagement you get with candidates, with clients when you are the director of your own recruitment agency. I'm not talking about, director of your division and these kind of fluffy titles that get thrown around in recruitment quite significantly, and everyone gets called a director of first impressions or a director of the manufacturing division, specifically in this location, in this state. I'm talking about a full-blown director of a business. They get some serious authority and credibility when talking to clients and candidates. So you'll be able to do BD more effectively, engage candidates more effectively, and ultimately increase your billings. Higher response rate from cold emails. When you get an email from a director, it hits different to a consultant. So a lot of flow-on effects happen from taking that next level up that you probably haven't experienced yet, but when you do, you'll know exactly what we mean.
Yep.
All right.
Number 8.
Number 7.
7.
This is the last point, and then we'll get into the bonus.
Mate, I feel like you've completely wigged us out.
No, mate, we're here. Now we're going to
you
here.
already spoke about that.
No, we haven't spoken about that.
Oh, we're still talking about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cut that out. All right, number 7, mindset shift. Scarcity versus abundance. What do you got for us, Deck?
Well, let's explain the definition of scarcity. How do you know if you have the scarcity mindset first?
A scarcity mindset is typically quite negative. It's around failure. It's around what if something bad happens? What if someone does this to me? What if the market shifts? What if, I don't know, I get into a car crash? What if someone does better than me? Does that mean that I'm not as good? Scarcity mindset is really just around, it's around, I don't know what words to use, but it's just around a kind of negative dialogue in your own brain. You reckon? What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, short-sighted. Me. You only really ever think about yourself. And it's like, you're hustling and grinding and just trying to get scratching to get what's yours. And then an abundance mindset is very much long-term. You're thinking ahead. You're like, hey, if I do this now, how would it impact me in 10 years, 5 years? Do I have rules and standards that I live by within myself? Do I show up every day? Am I free with what I say? Or am I one of those recruiters that catches up with your mates all the time and you still can't even tell them the clients you work with?
What about other people as well? Like I feel like the abundance mindset is more about giving to others than and then the scarcity mindset is around what you get.
Yes.
Abundance is what you can give.
Perfect. Say that again, Blake.
Oh, what did I just say? Scarcity is about what you get or what you don't get, and abundance is about what you can give and the value that you can provide to other people. And generally, a lot of recruiters are typically in a scarcity mindset. Oh, shit, what if this happens? Oh, what if I don't do my 10 BD calls? Oh, what if I don't hit my cost of seat? Oh, what if I don't get these comms? The abundance mindset is a lead comes through. You're sharing it with other agencies, with other colleagues. You're not too concerned about what's happening to you directly. You're more concerned about what you can give and provide to others as value.
The client, the outcome. But when you've got strict deadlines, you're getting paid to certain restraints, it's very hard to break out of that. And that's why many business owners realize that, once they run an agency, they're like, hey, I didn't even know this abundance thing was a thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm automatically feeling it. So because they've unshackled their brain, they're around new people, thinking new ways. And unless you can do that, then you don't really understand what a true abundant mindset is.
People can feel your energy when we're talking about abundance and scarcity. Like they can feel when you're confident, you're full of abundance, you're a giver, you care for other people. And then on the flip side, they can feel when it's all about you, your self-interests, what you get out of it, what are you going to get in return, all this kind of stuff. I'm sure if you're sitting there listening to this right now, you've probably got a leader in your life that has an abundance mindset, that's just a giver, that cares for others and is less self-interested. And then I'm sure there's people that you know, it could even be high performers that are they care more about what they get in return for their efforts than they do about giving value to others around them. So once you get yourself into this abundance mindset, it's an amazing shift where you start to add much more value to other people's lives, and then in turn it comes back to you in 10x's.
And then once that happens, this is number 8, the holy grail, and why we all do it.
You can officially be your true, authentic self. Now, this is something, I'll give you a little story about BT back in recruitment days when I was working at my last agency. I have a bit of a personality, and I was learning recruitment, and I basically had to do it exactly like the boss told me. Fair call, and that's what I did. But I knew that there was more of me to give from a personality, from an authentic standpoint, where I could connect with my clients and candidates, because I could just have fun and have a laugh, be myself, and be authentic. Whereas I felt like I couldn't do that working for another business. And maybe people listening might appreciate this, but you know, you've got to put on a set of armor that is reflective of the values of the business that you're working for. You've got to be professional, you know, you've got to save face, all this kind of stuff. When it's your own business.
No. Sometimes you don't. What we've learned, you don't have to be that.
No.
Sometimes you've got to be a cold-hearted killer and just get the deal done. And that's why you don't feel authentic, because you're getting told just get the money in the door, do this, do that, bash phones. You can't do anything else outside of that. And that's why you don't feel your most authentic self. I enjoy being like professional and showing up and doing those things.
No, I'm talking about, like, let's say you're at Hayes. You have to march to the beat of their drum. You got to fit in their box.
Correct.
And be politically correct and professional in their, I'm talking a tie, for example, or a suit jacket or whatever. You got to talk to people in a certain type of way. But when it's yourself, you can really just let your personality and your character really shine through far more authentically, because it's your own business, than you ever can as an employee working for someone else.
Yep.
So I think that's a really, really important one. It becomes much more fulfilling when you build authentic client and candidate relationships based on your personality and your ability to deliver results, instead of just doing it because you're trying to hit a number for the month. And then, much more fulfilling, much more exciting. We've got ex-recruiter partners that have been in recruitment 15 years, and we're helping them set up their business and doing their logo and all this kind of stuff. And they've turned around and said, look, I am so excited about starting my own business. I feel like I've got that flame back for recruitment again. I'm so excited to represent who I am, be myself, and go and have these authentic conversations. Not that you're not having authentic conversations, but there's always this lens of it's someone else's business. You got to do the right thing based on their values. But now you can actually start to operate based on your own values and create your own systems and processes that you find value in and that your clients want, over and above just what your boss lets you do. So I think being your true authentic self is a really, really big one.
So guys, that wraps it up. They are the 8 most important things that you as recruiters do not know. So I'm glad you know them. Make the move. And let's see what you do with it, because this information is absolute gold. And I wish someone told me all this when I was sitting there in an agency.
Hey, and you know what? Before we wrap it up, love the feedback. Did we miss anything? Is there anything, maybe an agency owner's listening to this and they go, the biggest shift for me that I didn't realize was X. So would love a DM, would love a message, give us a shout out. Tell us, what are some of the things that, if you're a recruiter right now running an agency, that you didn't realize prior? If you can comment below, that'd be awesome. All right, hope you enjoyed this episode. Welcome home again. Bulla bulla.
Vanaka.
And we'll see you next week for the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions, or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until next time.